When you go home tonight and you open up your bird cage and pull out the Denver Post editorial page, it's this man who's responsible for it now. Curtis Hubbard, congratulations on the new gig as editorial editor for the Denver Post.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
Now, Dan Haley did a superb job, and that meant he could drink as much as I could when we would go out. So I don't know your alcohol capacity just yet, but is it large?
I've been told it's large.
So what is it about, particularly old school newspaper guys? They know how to drink.
Well, it comes with the territory, right?
How
That's why a
so?
lot of us get into the business.
It used to be smoking, but now none of you smoke. It used to be that you smoke and drink, and now none.
But you still, to get good tips, you got to be at the bar.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right, you work for Dean Singleton now directly. Now, I'm imagining that in the editorial offices, that there is a red phone, and every now and then it vibrates and glows red, like the bat phone in the old Batman, and you pull it up and you say yes sir, and then you write what he tells you.
It's new school. What happens is a screen comes down in front of the window, and Dean's image is beamed in front of me, and I take my orders from the Legion of Doom. You got
a pretty salty cast of characters there. You've got Vince Carroll, whom is a absolute professional, responsible, respectable, and then you got a guy who needs a haircut more than anyone I've ever met, Litwin. You got Alicia Caldwell. How do you decide who writes what editorial? Because they all write their own columns, but don't you also take turns writing the official house editorial for the?
We do, and it's an interesting process in that we'll meet every morning and we'll talk about the issues of the day. And we'll come to a consensus about how we feel individually, how we feel institutionally. There are some issues that Vincent has expertise on. The PUC would be an example. There are issues that Alicia has expertise on in terms of Denver's school reform efforts. Litwin's expert would be an expert in mustache care, fashion. And so he'll take on those important issues. But seriously, we try to put the best person on the topic in terms of an understanding of the issue.
What if that person doesn't agree? For instance, Vincent is a free market oriented guy, and if he comes up and has to write one of your usual communistic editorials saying that we need healthcare reform or whatever it is.
I prefer the term civic Republicans.
Civic Republicans, yes.
And the idea behind that is ultimately we think that both sides can come to an agreement somewhere in the middle and come up with what's best for Denver and Colorado. And it's I have done it, Vincent's done it, Alicia's done it, Mike's done it.
I mean, writing editorials that you don't actually believe in.
Well, where you put your personal beliefs on the back burner in exchange for the beliefs of the larger entity.
Wow, that sounds very Orwellian. I don't know so in other words, just like the guy who's representing the axe murderer in court as his defense attorney, you've got to ask Vince every now and then, going, listen, I know this is a completely fascist thing for us to do, but we're going to support these new regulations for the new energy economy. Write it up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a tough job market out there.
I don't know.
So
I don't know if you've ever noticed, but when he does that, if you take every third letter and circle it, it says, "Help! I'm being held captive. Please tell my family I love them." Yeah. The editorial page has changed given the internet world, and that for so long the newspaper is if it was in ink, it was real. And there's still an older generation that believes if it's in ink, it's real. But there's a younger generation that believes in photons, and that if they see it on a screen, it may be real, it may not be real, but it'll get me to think. Where does the editorial page fall on that? Well, it seems to me that legislators, elected officials, they love or hate the editorial page. It's something they can clip out and put on their wall when you say something nice about them. Does it have the same power that it did?
I don't know if it's got the same power online. I think we're still powerful, and one of my goals is for us to do better in the online space. My friends and younger, they don't subscribe to the newspaper anymore, but they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they have smartphones, they're engaged civically, and it's just a matter of reaching out to them in the right way. And we are, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're doing more at don't know if you've noticed, we've got a new, what's called a QR code that we've put into the Deadwood edition, where you can take your smartphone, scan that code, and it will take you to enhanced content that's stuff that doesn't fit into the newspaper. We're going to be experimenting with online conversations. We've got the artist Christo has agreed to take questions from readers on his Over the River project. It's going to be one of the first things we do, and so we're excited about it. We've got a lot of things that we can do online that we can't do in print, and I think that it really helps us expand the conversation and bring more people to the table. It's not, my view of the editorial page is it's got to be a conversation. It's not the ivory tower. It's not us sitting there and pointing the finger down and telling everyone what to do. It's soliciting opinions. It's sharing opinions. It's providing a forum for people to come together.
Institutionally, the Post takes positions.
Oh, absolutely.
And the Post holds on to those positions, and then sometimes it changes its position.
Sure. And that, and
like a person. I'll give you a case in point. When I fought Amendment 23, excuse me, a gazillion years ago, saying, wait, this is going to bust the budget. It will conflict with Tabor. It's a bad deal. The Denver Post endorsed it. And now I hear that the Denver Post thinks, well, maybe it wasn't the best idea to put that into the Constitution. At what point does the institutional view change at the Denver Post? What does it take? Or is it Dean that needs to come in?
It is organic. It is an entity that is growing and developing and learning, just like a voter, just like a reader. And as we learn more about Amendment 23 or Tabor or school choice or Barack Obama's performance as president, we change our opinion. We look at the facts and we decide this is what we think is best. And I think that that's healthy. I think that if you draw a line and say, I'm unwilling to cross this, I'm unwilling to consider any views that would take me beyond that, that you're never going to grow, and you're eventually going to find yourself on the back bench somewhere.
Is the editorial page still one of the top pages that are read? I've heard that the letter to editors section was consistently one of the highest read parts of any newspaper.
It is in print. It is not online.
Really? So in print, people go to the editorial page. Online, not as much.
Not as much, and part of that is it depends on the paper that you look at. We don't currently do as good a job promoting the opinion page as, say, the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post. All three of those websites, if you go to, there's an opinion link right in the screen that you can see. It's prominent. There are headlines. And
so what I'm hearing is you're not satisfied with the way Dean Singleton's running this rag, and you are going to challenge him. Is that what I just heard? That's what I just heard.
It is.
I hear you're tired of his crap, and you've had it.
I'm not going to take it anymore. The great thing is that I think Dean puts people in position to do what they think is best, and there are people that agree with me, people who disagree with me. We're going to have vigorous discussions about whether pictures of Broncos cheerleaders have a better place on the homepage than the opinions of Carroll, Litwin, Hubbard, and Caldwell.
Let me tell you, cheerleaders. Put me down for cheerleaders.
Yeah, well, they are
anytime.
The term in the business is for that type of content is click whores.
Click whores.
Are we click whores or are we journalists?
Click whore. I'm a click whore. All right, let's bring it to some of the other opinions. When it comes to, for instance, next year, you're going to have to decide who you're going to endorse for all the seats. These are crucial endorsements because there are a lot of people, particularly lower down on the ballot, who go, well, I know who I'm going to vote for president, but for House District 28, for the RTD board, for my county, I don't know, and they pull out your little sheet and they follow along. This, I feel, is the most dangerous thing anybody can do is follow the Denver Post endorsements. You understand this is big
it's
stuff.
Serious business.
How do you decide?
Well, it's we do a lot of research, and the internet helps in that endeavor. We're able to send out to the candidates questionnaires and say, how do you feel on these 10 or 15 questions? And we've been doing it online now for 3 election cycles. The newsroom and the opinion page.
If that's the case, you should have consistent political views represented all the time, but instead you really go back and forth.
Well, we believe
if you've got this questionnaire and it says,
Sure.
do you believe that we should have less taxes?
Sure.
And those people who vote yes on that, you obviously don't support.
But you have to understand the pond you're fishing in. Someone who is anti-tax, anti-government, anti-social programs is not going to be the best representative for Boulder, just like somebody who wants to eliminate corporate speech, eliminate the military, and plant daisies in every median isn't going to be the best for Colorado Springs. And so what we try to do is understand the larger political terrain and say who's going to be the best representative of House District 47 versus House District 23. We try to get to know the people, and sometimes we pick balance as opposed to maybe the person who we think is the better politician.
Who did you endorse? You endorsed Obama in 08.
My predecessor endorsed Obama in 2008.
Will you or the Post be endorsing Obama again from this point?
We'll be endorsing the best candidate come 2012. I will tell you that right now, looking at the field of Republicans, I am unimpressed.
You watched the debate that happened last week. Tell me, where do you think we are? My team.
Yeah.
How bad is it?
I think that you have a battle for the far right, for a portion of the Republican Party that doesn't represent necessarily the broader view of the majority of Americans, and it's a time where this country needs somebody who can bring us together as opposed to somebody who will divide us.
That's left talk. That's left talk.
That's
no,
I
need somebody to take care of the budget deficit and get us out of Obamacare.
Sure. Well, and here's where I'll give the Tea Partiers credit. In February, when Barack Obama submitted his budget, there was no deficit reduction in there. There was no budget cutting in there. And they insisted, and they got him on board. I don't know that they needed to manufacture a debt crisis to do it and put us in danger of default and make our credit rating go down to AA+.
Really? So it's the Tea Party's fault that our credit rating went down?
That you will, as many people as you stop on the street is the number of opinions you'll find on that topic. Mine is that they certainly share in the blame.
I think the guys who overspent the money share in the blame most of all.
They all have D's and R's next to their names.
Indeed, I will follow that one. All right, with just a minute or so left, tell me, out of the field, who are the top candidates on the Republican side?
Well, clearly,
who are the ones that are going to be in the fight?
Yeah, Mitt Romney is there. Voters know him from 2008. Colorado voters know him and supported him enthusiastically that time around. He's the clear front runner. I don't think he's done much to harm his chances. In the rest of the field, though, it's sort of a fight for number two. And the big news happens Saturday when Texas Governor Rick Perry enters the field, and he becomes immediately choice number two for the Republicans. And the rest are fighting to be number three.
The rest fall to the wayside, I think. Yeah. The sooner we can get that over with, the better. So if I give you $100, is there a possibility you could endorse the Republican?
Oh, absolutely. I am.
Which Republican would the Post likely endorse?
That is a good question. I think I'll tell you. I think Mitt Romney has experiences that we like. John Huntsman has experience that we like. Beyond that, I need to keep kicking the tires.
You're a big Newt fan, I can tell. Curtis, thank you. And thank you. Listen for me late nights on 850 KOA. Tell a friend. We'll see you next week.